On the low, truth be told, I could flow, and one day I'ma let them know. But until then, as sure as there's hair on my chin, I'ma spin thoughts that blend my notepad with pen. And in my backpack, ain't no need to worry about that. Just a few loose thoughts put together well. And once I do tell, you'll feel me like Braille, cause I'm the Dr. Seuss of this unknown speaking spell. When on Main Street, I look like the norm. But on the beach street, I'm the cumulus cloud to the brainstorm. And my brain spark is under the cover of darker, cause I'm the unknown like that Iraq Peter Parker. I'm the start like an indent, but unseen like dark tint. Behind the mic Superman, during the day just Clark Kent. So before I go, I guess I'll let you know with no doubt, I'm a secret poet, but now I guess the secret's out.
Just stay the night with me. Be my secret sin, and let the smoke from your tongue smother us in lust. These sheets will be our sanctuary, and the pillows our altar. Let us consecrate this moment by bathing in yellow candlelight. I only want to use your soul, because your body holds no interest to me, and we will dance like the flame at the end of our fingertips, whispering sweet nothings that will evaporate between my lips and your ears. Your time in my story may not last forever, but you were here when I needed to fight loneliness, punching with broken fists and lighting footsteps with our sparks. With second hands swiping our youth, and minutes stealing our hearts, we can only run from time for so long. But our story will be captured in ink, hidden in brownie pages wrapped in a crimson cover, our mark with your words with a crease in a smile. Because for a moment, fire was in our eyes, and darkness could not touch our hearts.
Death, it came when I was most trusting, and took what I held most dear. Death took my father, leaving a pain that hurts more every year. May 17th, a day I never want to come again. The day death shook me to my very core, leaving but a shell of the girl I was before. It came like a freight train, but left like a flood, destroying everything on its way and taking everything that I loved. After all that has happened, all I can do is be sad, and all I can bear to say is rest in peace, Dad.
I remember when I was a kid, I had this set of blocks. I would build and build for hours, making skyscrapers and towers, only to knock them over and put something else in its place. I would build castles and forts to ward out the dangerous monsters that were always lurking beside the couch or under the chair where I wouldn't dare set foot because that was my cat's chair. Yeah, my cat had her own chair when she was here. Around the same time, I had those blocks that I built marvelous structures with. Those blocks, they had nothing on them. They were just an assortment of colors. Some red, some blue, some yellow. The strange green blocks that no one really knew how to arrange because they weren't a shape at all. From those blocks, I used them all, creating wonderful landscapes from my fantastic adventures just sitting on the living room floor. Mom said that I should maybe be an architect the way I played with those blocks and build all those wonderful things, those fortresses for my men to hide in, shelter for the wounded, graves for those who passed on because of their noble actions fighting the monsters hiding behind the couch. Every block in my eyes had a purpose. No matter how I rearranged them, each one just as important as the last in the process of grand architecture that I so elegantly apply to my life now. But my life now isn't as easy as knocking down some blocks and rearranging them into a new structure to fend against the evils and snares, but that really doesn't stop me from trying. So as long as you give me blocks, I will continue to build with those wild eyes of a child on my living room floor, creating safe havens and fortresses from the monsters under the table and behind the couch, even though they aren't as scary as they used to be, because I moved the couch and that table, and I said, see, I win. Because after years in toiling and struggle, I have cleansed the land of those monsters. So now I can take off the armor and sheath my sword, and instead of towers, I can build a vacation home with a little pool and a balcony to overlook my peaceful kingdom and my cat, because even now my cat will have her own chair, and I will tell my children of how their dad saved the world. Then maybe when they're old enough, I'll give them their own blocks and let them know that being an astronaut or an architect is okay.
What does the world think of me when I'm fast and sound asleep? Does she leave or does she talk? Does she sleep or does she walk? Should I worry? Should I be naive? I think it all just leaves. Sitting in this sea of green, unaware of pictures on the screen, biased in thought, relaxed in mind, just trying to keep my world in line. Am I nauseous or am I dead? Damn this voice inside my head. Cluttered in this maddening talk, unsure whether to stay or to stop. I'll just sit here with my mind ajar, stopped by voices from afar. Is it scary or is it me? I think it all just leaves. I ask myself, not knowing why, how is it impossible to kiss the sky?
I'm a poet and I sorta know it, so the secret's out. But deep inside I still feel like a secret poet. So I pause and think, and then I write poetry till my mind goes blank. And sometimes it don't work out, I'm done with it. But then circle back to having fun with it. For instance, tonight, as we recite, and me and D pass the mic, from bad days to good nights, when I write, everything with life is alright. So buried deep inside with no doubt of everybody is a poet, you just gotta let him out.
Lyrics that light, verses of insight, words that might take you on another plane of existence tonight, alright? The darker side of things, life is full of ups and downs, there's no arguing with that. Sometimes it shows you the way, sometimes I hold you back. So when you feel like your back's against the wall, grab your pen and pad and write some poetry, y'all, because poetry is everything.
To walk, untouched, unnoticed, invisible,
Around me voices murmur, carrying down the halls. A trail of stories follow me. The windows burst into spider webs, just a reminder of a shattered romance. Shadows around me dancing gracefully around pillars. A fog filling every crevice of my mind. A kiss, the bittersweet taste of spearmint on my tongue, holding me, layers of jackets surrounding me wholly. Like a drink of scotch, warmth begins to burn and build inside of me. A rush from the sweetness of his cologne fills me, a scent locked away in my memory. Faces of the spirits that haunt this place move past me and blur. I move slowly, his face always there. Puppy dog eyes hidden beneath the baby blues reflecting in his glasses. The goofy grin I adore. I long for you always. To say you weren't my greatest dream would be a lie. I miss you.
You're watching Secret Poet TV!
I'm no good at writing songs, fairy tales, or sing-alongs. I don't even think I could write my own name. I couldn't write a resume or to an old friend to say, hey, I'm just a hater hating on the game. I feel it, but I'm not that old, or at least that's what I'm told. If life's a shed, then I sure am a tool. But that's just when my words meet epic fail. I'm with my friend tonight, and even though he says he feels alright, or at least that might just be the way it may seem, we've done this whole run around back to the lost and found, and that's in fact where I found his self-esteem. And just like he said, I'm living in my head, but maybe I like being his fool, but that's only when my romance meets epic fail. And they say I try too hard, and that sometimes I go too far, and I wonder if I'm even alive. But I just pick myself up, and when the going gets tough, I revive myself alive and find a life I'm looking for. And when people get cold and I don't do what I'm told, I'm not waiting for my life to start. I've got a way to make my mark. And me, I'm no epic fail.
Remember, we're going to be doing this every Monday night with Real Talk Poetry, Secret Poet TV, Miles Live Art, Crown Station, Coffee House and Pub.
You're watching Secret Poet TV!
Secret Poet TV.